From punching his teammate to abusing a lady and losing his license over doping, and building a reputation as the most aggressive and self-centered driver on the track, this is the story of the most hated racer of all time.
Mazepin will never change. Fucking Mazepin has no fucking idea what he's doing.
That's why people hate you.
But was he really as selfish as the world believed? Or did his father's immense wealth cast him in that unforgiving light? Well, let's talk about it. Figuring out who the most hated F1 driver of all time is should be a difficult task. I mean, almost every F1 driver has an Instagram page dedicated to trolling them. But having 45,000 people sign a petition just to kick you out of a sport that they may or may not have ever seen is quite the achievement. Or non-achievement. This is the one guy who managed to turn the entire F1 community against himself and even garnered his own cancel culture following, only to top it off with a perfect finish in 21st place in the 20 Drivers' Championship of 2021. I'm sure you've caught on at this point, but just in case you still find it difficult to believe such a person exists, I'm talking about Nikita Mazepin. Yes, the one guy who somehow recorded the fastest lap in Formula 1, yet he ended the season without a single point to his name. We would like to begin this on a positive note, except it's Mazepin, guys. There are just no clean sheets with this guy. Mazepin was a PR firm's nightmare. His arrogance and self-centered approach to his sports only served to get him to the everybody hates Mazepin level, especially from his fellow F1 drivers. Everyone knows the story of how Mazepin got into F1, but just in case you didn't get the update, it was all thanks to his dad's sponsorship deal with Haas. That's right, he was an F1 pay driver. There was nothing in Mazepin's early racing career that screamed, "Look, F1 material over here." Okay, that might have been a bit too much, but you get the drift, right? Promising or not, he didn't do too badly before getting into F1. I know you might find that difficult to believe, and it may not be worth it, but let's dig into the past a bit. Mazepin began karting at age 7 and quickly made a name for himself. Yes, young Mazepin was quite the winner. He won several national and international championships. Then he transitioned to single-seaters in 2014, competing in the German and Italian Formula 4 championships. In 2015, Mazepin moved to the Formula Renault 2.0 series. He joined the GP3 series in 2016, driving for ART Grand Prix after 3 seasons with GP3 with a 10th place finish in the 2017 standings. In 2019, he graduated to the FIA Formula 2 Championship, still karting for ART Grand Prix. This time around, he ended the season with a whopping 11 points. That was supposed to be a tidy summary of a not bad junior career. But then Mazepin had to desire the forbidden F1 fruit. But getting into Formula 1 was a different kettle of fish altogether. And our boy couldn't get the kettle of fish without Daddy's help. Of course, Daddy did help, and money did what skill and talent, or lack thereof, couldn't do. So how did this happen? We've got all the dirty, more like pathetic details. The long and short of it, Dmitry Mazepin, Russian business tycoon and billionaire, offered to sponsor Haas for the 2021 season and even longer if they would let his son get behind one of their wheels and finally get to add F1 driver to his CV. Guess what? Haas agreed. In retrospect, they probably had no idea what they were getting themselves into. But signing 2 rookies as their drivers for the season was enough proof that they had more than a few financial screws loose. So, Mick Schumacher was the talent bag, and Mazepin, the money bag. And together, they formed the Haas disastrous duo for the 2021 championship season. All the Haas team manager expected from them was to simply bring the car home at the end of every race. What a show of faith! It might interest you to know that the car always came back home. Damaged, of course. But who's checking? When Mazepin was announced as the second driver for Haas in the 2021 season, fans were already questioning Haas's sanity in trying to bring in a pay driver. But then, this pay driver had his first scandal a few weeks before his debut, and everyone was just done with him. A video had surfaced where Mazepin was seen groping a lady. The lady looked uncomfortable, and a few seconds later, she flipped him the finger. It was as though fans finally got the chance to say what they really wanted to say. Somehow, the "We Say No to Mazepin" hashtag started to make the rounds. The funny part was that this hashtag was right under the Pride community rainbow symbol. To be rejected by the very ones who preached inclusivity is a whole new level of low. But hold your horses, they were just getting started. Over 45,000 people signed a petition to kick Mazepin out of F1. You might think this is a bit too much, but we say he had it coming. Anyone who really knows Mazepin can tell you that he is not new to scandal, or getting a lot of hate comments for that matter. In 2016, Mazepin assaulted 2020 Formula 2 vice champion Callum Elliott. After the violent attack, Elliott was left with a black eye, a swollen jaw, and a cut in several parts of his neck. It was a horrible accident, but somehow Mazepin was only punished with a race ban in European Formula 3. He also had a few run-ins with several drivers on the track, something he would replicate again and again on the Formula 1 scene. He received a penalty for hitting a P2 board towards Yuki Tsunoda. He also has an established record of doing and saying the wrong things on social media. At some point, he even threatened George Russell with a comment stating he has a secret about the driver that people might perceive as coming out. The long and short of it is that Mazepin already had a track record that was screaming red flag even before the assault scandal broke out. When the noise wouldn't die down, Haas and the FIA had to come out and let everyone know that they were not in support of what happened. Mazepin also came out to give what could be taken as an apology. He said he was not proud of what he had done, and it was not the right behavior for an F1 driver. His apology all got him another kind of backlash, with people asking if he was apologizing because he was an F1 driver or because he did something wrong as a human being. Then another wave came when he took down the official apology from his X account. Haas told everyone they would deal with the issue internally, but to the disappointment of probably everyone, including the Haas team, they announced that he would be staying on as their driver. And so, Mazepin began his disastrous debut season in scandalous fashion. What a way to endear yourself to no one. Right after his debut race in the Bahrain Grand Prix, F1 fans began to question if he should have been given a super license. And we must say that we had a point. Check this out. First of all, Mazepin qualified at the bottom of the grid. Well, someone has to be there. But we were all given the benefit of the doubt until he crashed out of the race after navigating just 2 corners. And of course, he lost the rear of his supposedly difficult-to-drive Haas VF21 for the umpteenth time that weekend alone. Well, you remember when we said the Haas team principal, Gunther Steiner, said that all he wanted was for the boys to bring the car home safely and he would consider the debut a success? Do you now understand why that would be considered a success in the first place? To be fair though, his teammate Mick Schumacher didn't fare any better. So that would have balanced the scale, except the rest of the season didn't quite go this way. While Mazepin perfected his crashing and spinning techniques, Mick got a few points to keep himself on the table. For the most part, Mazepin pretty much established himself as a nuisance on the track. During the Portuguese Grand Prix, he ignored all the blue flags and got in the way of then race leader Sergio Perez, almost colliding with him. Even Perez was wondering what the heck the guy was doing. By the 3rd Grand Prix weekend, fans knew what to expect. First, the washing machine moves, topped off by the dramatic spins. That's how he earned the name Mazespin. He spun so much that his team leader had to gift him with a spinning toy in honor of his infamous spinning prowess. We would like to say that it got better, but other than that one point in the Belgian Grand Prix, where he got the award for the fastest lap in the race at 3 minutes 18.016 seconds. This, by the way, is the slowest time with which a driver has set the fastest lap of the race since Jody Scheckter in the 1976 German Grand Prix. So, technically, it didn't get better. In fact, the FIA took their award back after it was discovered that this record was established on the second lap and not the first lap of the race. Not many drivers have an established hate track. A record like Mazepin? Who are we kidding? No driver has such a record. This is a guy who wasn't liked by anybody, on and off the track, with good reason. Fans didn't like him because he was just terrible, but rude and obnoxious. He was constantly making demands from his team and being unfair to his teammates. At some point, he asked that they make him an entirely new car. He blamed all his issues on the car. His horrible attitude to his team was only exceeded by his attitude to other drivers from the other teams. He managed to mess with every other driver's move on the track, especially that of his teammate Schumacher. And they have quite a lot to say about him. None of them good. Mazepin ended his catastrophic debut season with a record-breaking 16 spins and 0 points in all 16 races. The cherry on top was becoming the 21st driver on a list of 20 F1 Drivers' Championship standings of 2021. Well, Haas finally got their chance to kick him out following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They pulled out of their agreement with his father Dmitry and then declared that Mazepin would not be a part of them for the 2022 season. Mazepin did threaten to sue, crying racism, but who cares? That's right, nobody. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Good riddance. Finally, we can breathe a sigh of relief. He was already a drama queen, so everyone knew he was just crying wolf. But there was an even bigger drama queen, so-called by some fans. Want to find out who? Check out our next video. If you liked this video, take a look at some of our previous videos. I'm sure you'll like them.